What I'm interested in is helping students become open to different ways of interacting with the world around them. Now, that really comes from my African American studies background.
Hmm.
Um, so it's just my priorities are different. So I've been able to take my skill set and apply it to something that I hope is, beneficial to people, helpful.
I think what you're saying is that you're taking what your experience, what has worked for you when you were young and throughout your career, and then trying to help others, help the young students benefit from a similar experience because that's how you met Yusef Lateef, right? It wasn't in music, it was more in African American studies.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes, absolutely.
So, in your interactions with the students, have you met any student that was that is like a young Charlie Apicella?
The students that we prefer to encounter, we prefer Juma, Avery Sharp, Myra. We prefer to deal with kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and we prefer to collaborate with um, special needs students.
Mm,
So their capacity for musical execution does not come into the equation at all.
mm,
What we're collaborating with them on. So essentially what we do, and you can see videos on the website, but essentially what we're doing is we're introducing them to instruments from South Asia, from Africa, and from the Caribbean. We're introducing them to these instruments because those are, there's significant populations of those people here in New York.
mm,
So I extracted, some of the things that I learned from Archie Shepp in the classroom, for example, and I applied it to how can I illustrate this to students who come from South Asia, right? That was sort of like the question that I posed to myself. So I went and I found people who import instruments from Tibet and Nepal.
mm.
I have a bunch here. So, for example, I use, the Tibetan singing bowls. I use bells and shakers and things that I get from Nepal and Tibet specifically.
Mm.
This line of thinking came to me because I received this drum from Yusef Lateef. He brought this back from Pakistan.
Mm.
So Yusef's wife Aisha, a couple of years ago, gave me this drum, and I didn't. It took me months to even figure out what this drum was. It turns out it's a Himalayan folk instrument.
Mm.
It's a Nepal. It's a Nepali. It's called a madal drum,
What is it
and
made of?
I wanted to learn how to deal with this drum.
Mhm.
So I tried to focus all of my work as a percussionist on Nepali and Tibetan and Himalayan folk instruments. So that, again, it was something that came out of my own personal experience, and it was
Mhm.
an experience that I was drawn to from Yusef Lateef. 10 years after he passed, even I learned this lesson from him. So it's really quite an amazing journey that I've been on,
Mhm.
collaborating with Juma and Avery Sharp to bring this program to life.
Mhm. And how receptive are the students? Are these students also part of the New York public schools, some of them?
Well, yes, one of my biggest client right now is New York City Public Schools.
Hmm. Hmm. Great, great. And how what do they come away with? Do you have any feedback from your students or even from their parents and the community?
I put some testimonials on the website. It's we I have principals chasing me down the hall, begging me to come back. We have teachers crying. We have students, this is such a unique and different experience. And it all draws back to putting the human element first. When you walk into a classroom of young people who aren't, just a second grade classroom, we go into their classroom. We go in, Juma Sultan played Star Spangled Banner with Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock, right? You're talking about the absolute pinnacle of American culture, right? Walks into the room. These people don't, the young people don't know who he is,
Mhm.
but you're around somebody like that for 1 second and you know there's something special. So really what's fascinating about this is, and you'll see the videos, you'll see Avery Sharp on the website collaborating with the students. You'll see Juma collaborating with the students. So what, you know, these elders, these griots, they don't want to do assemblies, right? We don't do assemblies in schools. We do in the classroom. They want to interact with the students right one-on-one. It's incredible. So the reaction and the benefit that we're sharing with the students is that we're elevating their voices, we're elevating we're turning them into musicians, we're turning them into collaborators with us, and they have no musical background whatsoever. And it takes a very special educator, a very special person, to be curious about a novice, about their musical ability, right? And this is really something that Yusef demonstrated to me. Yusef was completely without any bias. He didn't view somebody, he seemed to not view somebody who was a great virtuoso any differently than he viewed someone who was an absolute beginner. And that's what it is I'm bringing to it. What, you know, that's what I'm trying to highlight and illustrate, is that these students that we collaborate with, I say we collaborate with them because we perform with them. We talk a little bit in the classroom. We have a little bit of a conversation. We introduce them to the elders, to the griots, and then we start playing these instruments with them. And, you know, teachers have noted that there's certain students who are alivened and awakened in ways that they have never seen the student awake before. You know, that's incredibly rewarding. It's, you know, it has totally transformed my worldview.
Mhm.
You know, it's been a lot of fun, and it's been very fulfilling and very rewarding. And we intend to push ahead.